Disturbing internet mysteries that have been solved.
Fun Time Kids Care. On the 25th of January 2015, Reddit user Disco Godfather 6922 made a post on the Salt Lake City subreddit that would start one of the biggest conspiracies in the platform's history. The post featured an image of a mysterious bright green building with little to no context. Its only identifying features were several signs that read Fun Time Kids Care, suggesting that the building might have once been a daycare center or at least pretending to be one. The title of the post read, "What's the deal with this place? Lived across the street from it for 5 years, never seen a kid there." At first glance, an abandoned daycare doesn't seem all that interesting, but something about this building felt off. There were details that didn't quite add up. The mismatch between the fresh-looking outside paint with old, worn-out signs, and the oddly
I mean, Chad, does it not just look like run down? Does it not just look like it was closed? Like, I don't know the mystery behind this, but like literally, if you were to look at the windows before, it literally looked like it was like boarded up or it just had nothing in there. So is this not just a rundown building? I don't know. I guess we'll find out though.
and the oddly placed windows that appeared to be boarded up from the inside. These strange elements caught people's attention.
Looks like Toys R Us. I mean, it's got the same colors for sure, but the vibe is definitely not there. I will say that for sure.
Before long, the post had gone viral across the internet. Then things got even stranger. A few days later, Disco Godfather visited the building again and described what they saw in a comment. "So I just came back from the place and found something in the back covered by a camo tarp. I then saw a Mexican man come out, pick something up, and go back inside. Earlier in the day, I went there and saw a pizza guy trying to deliver a pizza to the place. He knocked and nobody came to the door. He left, and I was about to as well until I noticed kids walking up to the door and trying to get in. Finally, an old Mexican lady opened the door and let them in. 5 years of living here, never saw a single person go in or out. Then in one day, I see 4 people. Weird."
I mean, could it not just be the fact that maybe? Let me think about this real quick. Maybe the daycare reopened? I'm gonna guess that maybe the daycare just reopened. I mean, you see it all happen in one day. Maybe they had a reopening pizza party for the children. I mean, literally, they looked like they were going to a daycare, did it not? I don't know if this seems like such a mystery, but I guess we'll see what actually ends up happening.
And while some people joked about the building being the base of operations for Walter White from the popular TV show Breaking Bad, others took things more seriously. To them, this daycare looked like a money laundering front, or something far sinister like an organ harvesting operation.
That seems like a little bit of a reach. The children have have backpacks on, and a guy was delivering pizza. How does the internet possibly come up with such it's a daycare, literally. How does the internet come up with such off the wall ideas? Like, dude, this is a drug ring? Like, no, dude, it's a daycare. Are we kidding? Dude, these people, oh my gosh, the internet these days, man. They just find the worst in everything. But I guess it makes sense because this world today, I mean, we got some bad people. So, I mean, I wouldn't put it past anything. You know what I mean?
The timing of Disco Godfather seeing the 2 kids after their post went viral, stating, "Could still be a drug front, but perhaps due to the additional attention it's getting, they're bringing in some of their own kids to make the place look more convincing." But before Disco Godfather and the rest of the internet could find any concrete answers, a Reddit user by the name of Deathship advised them to stop looking into this place. Naturally, people wanted to know who this guy was. As Redditors began looking further into Deathship to understand their ominous warning, they made some interesting revelations. Deathship was a retired Air Force linguist who was fluent in 8 different languages and was also stationed in Area 51 at some point. If these credentials were true, it was possible that this mysterious building was affiliated with one of the 3-letter organizations like the DoD, FBI, and CIA. And if Deathship knew, that would explain his warnings telling Disco Godfather to back off. But things became even more terrifying when soon after Deathship's comment, Disco Godfather began receiving threats from other users. "Delete your post and comments and stop making questions. First and last warning, we know who you are. If you must continue your search, try to uncover what you seek. Do not say I didn't warn you. Things like this are always run by dangerous people."
Okay, so I mean, if this is something, I mean, it's kind of insane for a person of that sort of level in the sticky government or whatever he was to make a comment on this. I mean, if it is that big of a deal, why are we telling people to not look into this place and why are we not trying to put a stop to it? Like, literally, we're echoing to people on the internet that something might be going on here, and you're like, "Oh, we should probably just stay away from this place. Whatever's happening there, just, leave it alone." Like, that seems pretty backwards, does it not? I feel like that's, like, a horrible thing to do, is just let something be, but at the same time, would I look into it? Absolutely not, because I'm not gonna confront anything that, that doesn't involve me much, but the government? Yeah, dude, you should absolutely be looking into this if this has actually has something into it.
Alarming when people found a link between the daycare and a shipping container from China. The bill listed 1,100 kilograms of plastic jewelry and 6,825 kilograms of football and soccer balls. This led many to believe that this daycare might be involved in human trafficking, pointing out that the weight didn't match what you'd expect from lightweight plastic items. Fortunately, all of these disturbing theories were discovered to be nothing more than conspiracies. The Utah Department of Health has official childcare licensing records indicating that Funtime Kids Care is just a normal functioning daycare.
See, that's literally what I'm saying. Like, why are people trying to say that this place, this daycare, it does look kind of run down and kind of like out of date, but whatever. It's absolutely insane the lengths people will go to make conspiracies about places, and then like just the fact that later on they're gonna just come out and be like, "Hey, dude, this is a daycare. This is literally what it looks like. What it looks like is what it is." Like, why are you telling people this is a drug ring or something like that? Like, people will go to the most extreme places just to get people to get involved in a conspiracy. Just let something be. Maybe this person saw four people go inside. He said there was a pizza man, and then there was two kids, and then there was a lady going in there. What are the chances the lady was maybe a teacher of the daycare? Like, they're just gonna write that off. It's definitely possible this person was the daycare teacher. Oh my gosh, the extremes people go to.
Recent comment by Reddit user Baby Tears also confirmed this with a personal story, which reads, "I know this post is old, but my dad actually went there as a kid. It's ran by a nice older lady. Apparently, my dad told me it's usually meant for kids as kind of a safe haven daycare to protect children who have a parent or family member that isn't meant to be in contact with them that's deemed as more dangerous or persistent. Hence why the windows are semi-covered with curtains and drawings."
Dude, literally, the people are trying to make this place sound like a horrible place. But if they shut this down, the fact that this is a safe haven for kids to go to get away from people that might be harmful from them, you're gonna shut this place down by a conspiracy theory that you're making, and these kids are just gonna not have that safe haven anymore. Like, people need to stop, just like, literally, they need to stop making conspiracy theories. What is that? Why is that the first thing people go to?
So for safety. That's why there are only a few kids in there. I live right by it, and they actually just painted the building a bright green with yellow windows. In the winter, there's cute snowmen in the playground. Looking into the daycare's history, it turns out it was originally established in 1973. And it used to be much more lively back in the day. However, after being purchased by a man named Richard Yoakum, after 2006, the daycare wasn't looked after properly, with multiple complaints of issues like infants being left outside without any supervision, yelling at children, and inappropriate sanitary facilities being common. Eventually, the business started to fail. But Richard continued to operate the daycare at a loss and handed it over to his mother just so she would have something to do in her elderly years. As for the ominous warnings from Deathship and others, they were just trolls taking the chance to harass Disco Godfather and turn this into something bigger than just a creepy building.
Of course, and then you always gotta have those people that are like just faking their whole identity just to be a part of something and make people get scared. Like, scaring people is like the one thing on this planet that like people do the most. There's a way more harm than good, and I like to think that there's way more good than people that harm, or like people like that make up stuff. But dude, like, that's just ridiculous. That's literally ridiculous. Like, dude, you have nothing better to do with your time than make up a story about yourself. Stop looking into this. I work in the government. Like, dude, go stinking. How about you stop eating your stinking potato chips, get up and go get a job.
15th, 2023, Richard passed away at the age of 79. But the Funtime Kids Care
And it probably got shut down because of that guy literally just having multiple complaints about children getting left outside. No wonder the place is shut down. There were so many complaints, the whole city was probably hearing about it, and we're like, "Hey, dude, we can't have this keep going this way. You're leaving children outside unattended." Does the town literally not like know anything about what goes on there?
building still stands today, its legacy now reduced to a quirky internet footnote where fans of the mystery even dress up as the daycare for Halloween. and ending to what was, in hindsight, a completely overblown saga. 96.7 FM Strange Sounds. On the 7th of January 2018, Reddit user Batchian320 made a post on the Beaverton, Oregon subreddit describing a bizarre phenomenon. The post read, "Tune in to 96.7 if you are near Progress Ridge. Some weird shit is going on. Sitting in the car with friends, tuned to 96.7 and I'm hearing weird repeating sounds and sometimes random people talking or saying random things. The sounds get more bassy and less bassy with some strange frequencies interrupting other ones. Someone please explain this." And
I mean, okay, so I'm just gonna make a quick guess because we made the guess on the last one and we were completely right. So I'm gonna make a guess on what happens with this one. Literally, I have had a radio. Radio frequencies can get messed up all the time. So I would not put it past that this is just like a frequency going off the fritz and it's just accidentally catching different things coming in. No, why does it always have to be something like chilling? Like, no, dude, radio frequencies, like, do you not understand how radio frequencies work? Sometimes they could catch something else, like, genuinely. I don't get the whole idea of something has to be wrong.
while others initially dismissed it as nothing more than two dominant radio stations playing over
That's literally what I said.
each other, they quickly changed their minds after listening to the eerie broadcast themselves.
KZRYLP, Portland.
Around the same time, Redditor Jimmy Saltz made a very similar post in the Beaverton subreddit as well. This essentially
I can definitely see how that might be a little spooky, but at the same time, KZRY, whatever, Portland, the guy was talking a little bit ominous. I'm not gonna lie, that would kind of creep me out. But at the same time, like, what if that was just like I mean, KZRY, like, is that a radio station? That might be a radio station. But literally, that could just be a radio frequency. Like it said earlier, the two radio stations may be competing and they accidentally overlapped. Like that can happen at any time. I had a radio one time. I had like a music pack because I was like in a band. I literally did nothing in the band. I was just kind of the guy that was like behind the things, just like doing like lighting and stuff. But I also listened to the pack that I was using. We would be practicing or whatever, and sometimes in the pack you would literally hear a radio station in the pack. So for a pack to do that, to have a radio station in it, but a radio station having that sort of frequency, a whole radio station, dude, it is not impossible for that to happen. But that was kind of freaked out, I'm not gonna lie.
ruled out the possibility that the issue was related to Batchian's car radio. And as time went on, more and more reports of these strange noises started coming up, all revolving around 96.7 FM. Now, if these strange noises were just that, most people would have dismissed them as a faulty broadcast system and moved on with their lives. However, the most haunting thing about these noises was that they kept changing. They would cycle between white noise, something resembling a very loud fan,
At what point is it that like you turn to the 96.7 radio station and something just keeps happening that you're like, okay, at what point are you like, this is a worthless radio station, something's going wrong with it all the time? Why do you keep tuning back in? I mean, I guess sometimes it makes sense because as humans, for some reason, we always like to check out things that are wrong. Like if there's people like checking out abandoned buildings, that's never a good idea. There could be someone just living in there, just not right in the mind, but people just want to go check it out. Like, why do people always have to investigate? Just like, dude, you can avoid all these bad things by just not investigating. I don't know what the point is. Makes no sense to me.
and the most terrifying old speeches from Martin Luther King Jr., John F. Kennedy, and the Apollo 11 broadcasts.
Reaching the 60-second mark on the Apollo 11 mission. T-minus 60 seconds and counting. We passed T-minus 60.
I also found reports of these strange noises going as far back as 2017. And one post made by a now deleted Reddit account really stood out. It stated, "Did I record some kind of number station? Recorded this off of FM radio 1617 at about 6:30 p.m. The radio station is not officially listed. It went on in this pattern for several minutes before just playing some white noise type tone for hours and hours on end, no station call. The station is a defunct rock station I never heard of. The next day they played MLK speeches and something that maybe could be called ambient music, slow motion tones and whirring sounds. Nothing it's played is recognizable by Shazam. Any input is welcomed. The person who made this post also linked to a video they recorded, and sure enough, the noises match the ones Batchy and 320 heard a year later.
Yo, but this radio station, what is this radio station just genuinely gonna get taken off the radio? If it's having that many problems and they could just not sort everything out and everything is just going wrong, at what point are they just gonna be like, dude, you know what? Screw it. We're done. Like we can't figure anything out. Everything's just going wrong for us. At what point are they just gonna be like, yo, we're cooked? Like genuinely, we've tried everything. We're cooked. What is this about? Dude, this is about radio station just continuing to pick up different frequencies and they can just not sort it out. Dude, do they not have a team of people that could just sort something out? If you don't have that team, you shouldn't be a radio station this in the first place. Genuinely. Delete the radio station at that point. Dude, that's literally what I'm saying. Like, just go off air, dude.
I could tell, reports of these strange noises persisted until June 2018, only to disappear as suddenly as they emerged. This extended year-and-a-half-long timeline of these noises does negate the possibility of this being some troll hijacking the frequency. Because over such a long period, one of the people working for the 96.7 FM station must have noticed the hack and corrected the issue. So if these noises weren't caused by a malfunctioning broadcast or a hack, then what were they? The only people who could prove these answers were those who owned and operated the station. And after going through one of the recordings of these noises, we can hear a distorted call sign of KZRYLP.
KZRYLP.
Looking up this call sign in FCC's public notice from August of 2018 reveals that this station is licensed to the Community Alliance of Tenants, which is a non-profit aimed at helping tenants know their rights. However, this revelation introduced more questions than it answered. What does a non-profit focused on tenant advocacy have to do with eerie, unexplained noises on the radio? Reaching out to the Community Alliance of Tenants, knowledge of interference with their station. This leaves only one possibility on the table, that these noises were deliberately broadcast by the Community Alliance of Tenants. As for why they would do this, the answer is simple: for attention. Think of it this way: you're driving down the highway and you want to see what's on the radio. You shuffle through the radio stations to find something you like, when all of a sudden you hear a creepy noise. Wouldn't you be curious to check out the station at a later time to see what was going on? As the explanation goes, they were likely broadcasting these noises on off hours to build curiosity around their station, which otherwise covered boring talks about tenant rights. People were mentioning this possibility all the way back in 2018 when these noises first became popular. And while the Community Alliance of Tenants hasn't come forward with a confession, people on the internet are 100% convinced that they deliberately created this hoax for attention. However, 96.7 FM has since been replaced by a rap station. The Evil Farming Game. On the 1st of May 2016, Reddit user Sparta213 asked for help in finding a game similar to that of Harvest Moon, which is a cutesy farming game. However, this cuteness quickly turned into sheer horror as others read through the specifics of what Sparta was looking for. The post read, "I know almost nothing about this game. All I can remember is that it's kind of like Harvest Moon but with a dark twist. The game starts out with you and your wife. One night you get into a fight and you end up stabbing her to death.
The commentator, did he not just say that this was supposed to be like a cutesy kind of game? What kind of cutesy game has you starting off the game like that? What kind of, dude, false advertising based off of like the cartoony like animation of the game. People probably watched the trailer and literally saw like, oh, this is gonna be a fun like kid game. Like my kids could play this, bro. Little did they know they're gonna be committing a stinking crime first thing in the game. This is insane. Do you guys remember, speaking of games that like have a glitch or whatever, have you guys ever heard of this SpongeBob glitch that happened? Like SpongeBob was on air and someone hacked it and they were like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to bring it up. But genuinely, like Nickelodeon got hacked and SpongeBob turned into like this weird looking dude, and there was messages on the screen saying like, I'm gonna come get you, to somebody that worked at Nickelodeon or something. Dude, whenever I saw that, That was chilling. That was chilling for sure. Dude, what is up with games and shows, like, big corporations getting hacked like that?
But the game revolves around you farming to stay alive while trying to keep the town from finding out about the incident that happened. Every now and then the cops come to search your house and you have to hide her corpse. People found the idea of a game that combined an innocent premise like farming with such a twisted plot both disturbing and highly intriguing. Given the storyline of this mystery game, most assumed it was some obscure Flash-based browser game. However, despite countless users on the subreddit dedicating hours each day to the search, they found no clues that could lead to an answer. The search also garnered an entire subreddit, which quickly grew to over 10,000 members as the legend of the game with such a dark premise traveled across the internet. The search also resulted in some users posting about having played the game a long time ago, with one such post reading, "Hi all, first time posting here. Today I found my old laptop, but sadly it won't boot up. But it brought back some great memories, particularly a game I'm about to describe. So, at the start of the game, you killed your wife.
The start of the game. Dude, that looks like that looks like a game like gosh, what is the game called? Something in Dexter. I don't know. But dude, that looks like a kid's game. Literally. Once again, false advertising. What is up with that? I don't know if this is a hack or whatever it is, but dude, that is a dark start to a game.
But after that, you just lived as normal managing your farm. However, it had a twist. The police could come at any time and find the body, so you had to constantly be wary and move the body. The laptop was built in 2001, and I bought a new one in 2003, so it would have been between that time. It wasn't a browser game, and I think I may have gotten it from uTorrent, but cannot remember to be honest. Hope this is enough info, and many thanks. However, all of these claims turned out to be false. That is, until one user solved the mystery 5 years after the original post. According to him, Sparta likely saw this animation for a clip of YouTuber Varg Skeletor Joel, otherwise known as Vinesauce, and later misremembered it as an actual game.
Honestly, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like Harvest Moon, but with, like, corpses. It sounds like... That'd be a fun game, just playing as Harvest Moon, but throughout all of the gameplay, you gotta hide a dead corpse. You know what? No. You know what it is? Harvest Moon, it's just regular Harvest Moon with your wife, and midway in the game you have an argument with your wife, and you accidentally kill her with like you kill her with like a barbecue
Wait, so this was just some guy's idea and they made it into a game? What kind of genuinely, what kind of sick mind does this person have to make this into a game? You're taking a children's cartoony game and you just have this sort of insane idea? What is the matter with you? What is going on in your brain to tell you like, "Oh man, what if the game was like this where we literally just ended someone's life in the game and then like, dude, what?"
wreck. Like you impale her accidentally, and you're like, "Oh, I didn't mean that." And at the same time, as you gotta like manage your farm, you know, raise your chickens and milk the cows, you also gotta like hide the body from the cops sometimes, from health security checks, and yeah.
Sparta would confirm this to be the case, stating, "So guys, I just got around to looking at the Vinesauce animated video that someone found, and as anticlimactic as it may be, I believe that this is likely the source of the game. It fits everything exactly. And I used to fall asleep all the time watching Vinesauce videos." So, in the end, while finding the answer was satisfying, it also left many feeling empty after spending 5 long years searching for a game that ended up not even existing.
Oh, so it never even existed. It was just a guy's idea. Also, what is this person saying? They're falling asleep to a guy that's making videos like this? What? You're falling asleep to this? Dude, I gotta watch Queso play like water park simulator or a simulator game to like go to sleep. If I'm like playing a scary game, no way am I watching like a guy talk about this kind of stuff to go to bed. Like genuinely, I'm gonna have nightmares. I will never understand the people that like fall asleep to this kind of stuff. That's insane.
On September 8, 2010, Reddit user I Wish I Was a Me made a post in r/gaming asking for mod recommendations for a game called Oblivion. The replies to the post started off fairly normal, with players of the game listing out the best mods for a new player. That is, until a user by the name of Yay Video Games joined in on the conversation and posted a comment stating, "The uninstall button. The game is great and all, but god is it hard to fully remove all the junk it leaves behind on your system. You really need to check out that mod when the time comes to get rid of it. Otherwise, I think Ascuro's Oblivion overhaul is a nice start. The first two sentences of this comment didn't make any sense. And when someone said, "What?" Yay Video Games once again replied with a similar comment stating, "The uninstall button. The game is great. Ubisoft goes Steamwork bye-bye, always on DRM. But you have to go work, always on work DR. Check out the junk it leaves behind in you."
Genuinely, you see that comment under there, like, this makes even less sense. But you oft go work, always on work. Like, what does that even mean? Like, does this guy speak English? There's no way this guy's real. Like, do you not look over your messages and genuinely be like, hey, no, this actually makes a lot of sense. I'm going to send this. You do know that you can look back over what you just wrote to make sure, like, hey, I'm making sure that I get everything clear here. You made just everything worse. You don't even know how to speak, apparently.
Somehow made even less sense than his previous comment, leaving others confused about what he was trying to say. What they didn't know was that things were about to get a whole lot more confusing. After a few more back and forths, Yay Video Games started spamming the nonsensical phrase "Ubisoft goes Steamwork bye-bye, always on DRM" over and over in the replies. However, what turned this behavior from strange to disturbing was the fact that most of these replies were formatted differently. They were bold, italic, all capital, in camel case, and in many other formats, meaning this wasn't just copy-pasted. He also linked to some extremely unsettling images with some of these comments that didn't make much sense either. The creepiest of these images was of a white surface with Yay Video Games' odd phrase written all over it. From there, he continued posting similar comments nearly 4,000 times before finally getting
4,000 times? Where do you have all this? Where do you have all this time? You're copying, pasting. Sometimes you're even writing something else, but you're copying, pasting most messages 4,000 times. Do you not have anything better to do with your time? Also, dude, you're like, look, you're not even getting like much interaction on your Reddit anyway. So like, what's the point of this? When are you just gonna be like, okay, you know what? This is kind of getting old and lame, and just I'm gonna give up on this. Makes no sense.
banned from the subreddit. This left a lot of people questioning what they had just witnessed. Many just assumed that he was either trolling on some extreme level or that this was the work of an advanced bot. But before they could get any answers from Yay Video Games, he deleted his account and disappeared from Reddit, and the mystery of this bizarre breakdown remained unsolved. That is, until Reddit user SoLegitHS took it upon himself to solve this case, hoping to find an interesting ARG or something along those lines. But what he uncovered instead was far more tragic than anything he could have imagined. After going through every post from the Yay Video Games account and finding similar repetitive patterns in other places across the platform, SoLegitHS narrowed down 3 more accounts that belonged to Yay Video Games. These included No Substance Here, Vinyl Record, and Not Sure How Big You Are. Among these, Not Sure How Big You Are appeared to be Yay Video Games' main account. Here he shared many aspects of his life that were crucial to figuring out his story. And contrary to what many believed, he wasn't just some troll spamming bizarre posts for attention. Those posts were his way of coping with a deeply miserable life.
What? What am I watching? This makes no sense. Also, the guy that did all this work, dude, like just to even go through all of those, he said he went through every single one of his posts on this Reddit. There's 4,000 posts. You took your time out of your day to do that. I mean, hey, thanks for kind of bringing to light what's actually going on, but dude, this makes no sense. Why are you wasting your time?
According to his posts, Yay Video Games was suffering from some extreme chronic illnesses that left him in excruciating pain at all times. The constant medication had also messed up his mental stability, resulting in manic episodes like the one that made him popular in the first place. Sadly, all of this became too much for him to bear. In the beginning of 2015, he decided to end his own life to escape the suffering.
I don't understand what I just watched, genuinely. That was kind of just the weirdest thing ever. The first two, sure, they made some sense, and obviously we understood what was going to happen. We understood what was going to happen later. But the last two, that made no sense whatsoever. I don't know what I just watched.